business because we like to entertain people, albeit by the medium of film. Welcome to this BKSDS film presentation course, organised by the CTC committee and friends and hosts of Dolby and host here today, the Electric Cinema in Birmingham. My name is David Kerr, and I'm an old industry head. I've been around for more years than I care to remember. My career has principally been in film distribution, having worked at United International Pictures, Polygram and 20th Century Fox. But before that, in a far off place, in a galaxy far, far away, as I say, I too was a projectionist. The purpose of this course today is to give you guys a little bit of sort of some ideas, some hints and tips on how to achieve the best results out of your sort of digital equipment in the sense of film presentation. It all stemmed from a secret shopper exercise that we carried out as a committee some 2 years ago, where we sort of wanted to establish whether there was any sort of truth in what we were being sort of informed of, that the standards were declining with the advent of digital cinema. We did find some problems, although it wasn't quite as bad as we were led to believe. Of the sample that we tested, to give you some idea, we found about 15% of the cinemas had picture problems and 15% had sound problems. It wasn't the same cinemas necessarily, but it was kind of around that figure. But if you took that at the time across the whole country, it could have amounted to about 800 or 900 screens in the country had or were not giving good presentation. So the purpose of this course was to try and put together some hints and tips and some ideas of how we can improve things and how we can make it better. This morning is some sort of practical stuff, and then this afternoon is some sort of pieces which we hope you will find useful. So I'm going to start off by introducing our very own comedy double act this morning. Our very own Men in Black. The first gentleman, some say he sleeps with projectors. Some say that he even scours the world for hidden pieces of equipment. He's certainly not a Cornish pixie, and he certainly doesn't look like a pasty, but he is a very own male Cornish projectionist, Mr. Peter Knight. The other half of this C3PO and R2D2 double act is a gentleman well renowned and quite famous in his own right. He is the last projectionist standing, Mr. David Norris.
Morning. Morning all. So earlier on we saw some of the best in cinema presentation thanks to the care and attention of the team here. And even though it was just 6 minutes worth, you know, we saw millions of pounds worth of investment and hours of people's lives.
We don't know why. But the film would be playing in 2D, and then it goes into 3D.
Right.
Just randomly.
We did have a 3D film on as well at the time, but it's because we had a 2D film and a 3D film showing every day, and it was like at the end of the week that we decided to do that.
Yeah.
There in Sidmouth, I think if I pop in and you can, well, let's have a look at it. I can always phone one of these guys while we're actually there to.
Well, it's only done it now and again, isn't it?
Twice it's happened.
But I can't control it. Anything else I can control, but you can't control it manually. You have to literally stop it and shut it down.
Right, so I just want to talk now about aspect ratios. So, does everybody know what we mean by aspect ratios? Does everybody know what an aspect ratio is? Not you, Nick, or you, Fred. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about volume and volume levels. Now, in theory, the standard industry reference on your Dolby Fable is 7, but the reality is that not everybody plays back at 7, and there are various reasons for that.
I walked into the mixing room where we were mixing foreign versions. We were re-recording the languages into French or German, whatever the language happened to be, and I found the 2 engineers on the mixing desk with cotton wool plugs in their ears, and they were underrunning on the monitoring because it was too loud, and every time you looked at the desk, all the meters or the LED meter lights, which might now were just constantly red, but wouldn't shift out of the red. Didn't matter what was happening on the screen, these lights are staying. And it just goes to you. And what it gave us was a problem, a real problem in the media a few days later.
Excellent. Right, let you finish off on your chocolate there. So, good afternoon, and thanks to the team as always for the invite, and Peter as always for giving you a nice lively start for after lunch. So, as David kindly introduced, I'm Rod Wheeler from Unique Digital, been with them for 5 years now, and previous to that was with Barco, so may have come across some of you in the past. Interesting, when I looked at this last week, just sort of putting these slides together again, just sort of trying to bring them up to date a little bit, I noticed that the first time I did this presentation for the team here was over a year ago, so it was quite interesting to think about how much things have progressed at your side of the industry in terms of your digital, getting to integrate with digital and the other elements you're working with now. And it was just, I thought, rather interesting that over the weekend there was quite a lot of press coverage of this wonderful new film that's getting a lot of publicity, a lot of coverage. Hopefully will be one of the first big features of the year to bring some money back in. And of course, if you read the articles, I don't know how much it's true or not, certainly in the US there seems to be some discussion that Mr. Nolan is pushing to go back to 35mm for the premiere, for the opening night. So one does beg the question, have you gone to all this trouble to put digital equipment in to move forward in your part of the business, you know, why are the content side not helping? But anyway, some good debates to be had there. I'm sure there's some great publicity to come out of that. So I just thought it was rather amusing to see, and I think that's coming out at the beginning of next month. But what I wanted to do was talk about two things really. One was the main thrust of the presentation was to talk about theatre management systems, TMSs, but I also just wanted to bring it out a little bit up to date with some of the new concepts and ideas that are now becoming possible now that you've all got your digital equipment, you're using it on a day-to-day basis, and just some of the things that are sort of on the cusp of being available now in the industry and things that we're working on which will certainly come along in the next year or so.
Or the projector, the customer can call us or send an email or create a ticket also in a web portal to report some problem, and thank you. And then we can help them over the phone, for example, or we can check offline the problem and connect with the cinema. So what we've got the ticketing tool. For example, we can log some problem. So that's our internal tool. So if I, for example, search after a cinema in, and it's not working.
And there it is there, 247366. That number is unique to your server. There is no two servers with the same number. So when you're ordering a key, that's the number you need to give them. If the CPU fan goes, that's actually a warranty claim. That can be replaced free of charge, and your engineers will probably replace that. The other thing you want to do is every now and then is, have you heard of orphan assets? So when you try and ingest some content, right, and it fails for whatever reason, be a corrupt disk, corrupt USB, a bit like your waste paper bin on your Windows files or your Windows system or your Apple system, it leaves a copy. So if we can come out of that, please, Charles. Right, okay, so click on Analyze. The password is password. You've got to admire the complexity of these passwords, haven't you?